Welcome back to another episode of Rewired Sober. I have an awesome guest today. I'm very excited, so y'all don't have to listen to me screaming into the abyss alone. I actually have a friend to commiserate with. Today's guest is Rebecca Rush. We've known each other for a while now. We've met through various sober social circles. We're all kind of swimming in the same waters, but we have bonded over many shared trials and tribulations on the journey of trying to figure it out ourselves, as well as guide others in the space and pursue our creative endeavors. So I'm happy to bring on Rebecca today. Rebecca Rush, she's a sober autistic peer coach, an essayist. I will read her official bio after I say this. She's what I'd call a professional disruptor, okay? And that's a disruptor of bullshit recovery mechanisms and narratives that aren't working. She's based in LA, and first of all, this woman's email address is called Fail Better Coach. I mean, come on, like I'm going to email that address because I want to fail better, right? Like, isn't that what life is? We're all failing better. And that title feels iconic. Let's just be honest. She writes a Substack called The Loudest Girl in the Corner, which is sort of what was the what's the word? Precipice? I don't know. You're a writer. Impetus. Okay, yeah. As to why I reached out to her and said, you have to come on the podcast, because I came across an article that, like I told her, stopped me in my tracks. I read it out loud to my husband. We laughed out loud. And then I was also a little bit sad because it's true. But then I was like, we've got to talk about this. Okay. So her official bio, as I'm going to get to this here, she's a writer and a neurodivergent coach from LA. Rebecca Rush's poems have appeared in numerous literary magazines, including Toho Journal, Art Poetry, and One Art. She's currently penning the Substack The Loudest Girl in the Corner and hosts the Zoom mic Permission to Fail. And what I love about her story is that it's not a polished, I surrendered and everything became magical and here I am into sobriety. Like that voice for some reason is how I would imagine a very woke, beautifully healed woman would speak. But she has spent years trying to figure it out. And trying to force herself into traditional recovery methods like many of us have. I'm going to stop talking. Welcome, Rebecca. I love you. So good to see your face.
Thanks, Kate. Oh, what a nice intro. That made me feel really warm.
Warm and fuzzy
It
inside.
did. Yeah.
Oh, good. So thank you for being in my time zone. I need to get my ass to LA. I just got back from New York. And then my husband and I were like, we need to get to LA next. Like, we fancy ourselves the bicoastal elite.
You guys should come. I have extra Olympic tickets.
Oh my God. You just
I
throw
do.
that out there.
I
like
do.
everyone's going to freak out.
Everyone be nice to me for the next 2 years. I have extra beach volleyball.
I love that. So everyone be nice to me. I know, right? Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing I wanted to talk about, well, let's go to the Substack article because that's I'm dying to talk about this because I feel like I stumbled upon something that everybody should read. I'm fairly new to Substack, as in even a subscriber, a person who follows along. I think I have a Substack, but it doesn't even have anything on there. There's so many social media channels and so many platforms out there. It's hard to be heavily involved in a lot of them. And I've really been focused on YouTube a lot lately because it's just so much fun. So shameless plug, check this out on YouTube. But you wrote an article titled "A Few Things I Won't Be Writing About." And it read like a permission slip to finally say the thing out loud. And I really want to go into that because I could read off all the 50 different topics that you wrote, like, I won't be writing about this, I won't be writing about, tongue in cheek, you're writing about it. And it's funny, but also, wow, was I nodding in agreement to all of it? Like, holy shit. And you're putting it out there. So one of the things that came across, you're a neurodivergent coach and you work in those spaces, and you very bluntly in the article wrote about not feeling very welcome, understood, or safe in 12-step spaces. And I wanted you to kind of elaborate on that.
Well, God, there's so many directions I could go. So, as somebody who's less masked, I think AA is just full of unrecognized neurodivergence. Bill and Bob were so obviously autistic and ADHD. Like, just look at any of their traits, and you're just like, oh, but they didn't have the language. Um, but I used to think I was addicted to early sobriety because that was the only time anybody was nice to me in AA. Because then it's like, and then I'd be like, I'd come in and people would, but they would think who that I am at my core was untreated alcoholism. And that's a problem with AA because who that you are at your core is not some made up disease that's not science backed. And they would expect me to stop being me after a few months of trying to be them and trying to like fit on this AA mask. And then it would become like really overwhelming. And I'm pathologically demand avoidant. And I learned recently that like my brain will force a crisis to get rid of demands that are placed on me. And there's no bigger demand than AA. It is just a demand factory. And like they're like, choose your own God, but if you really mean it, get on your knees to pray. Like, I don't know, why do you get to decide how my God wants me to pray? Like, oh, is that a Christian thing? Weird. Is that where this whole cult came from? Huh. No, it's my own concept. You just have to believe it. Well, it could be a doorknob, but not if you're more than 10 days sober. Like,
Oh my God.
like you're
Choose your
only
own God. But if you're serious, choose this God. Okay. Come on, bitch. Get with it.
exactly. And then being like really open to like, you've got like a pile of undiagnosed neurodivergent people who like are using alcoholism and it's like, look at all the structure. It's like these are a bunch of autistic people who don't know how to have friends. That's why they drink. And then they come to AA and they have all this is how long you're allowed to talk. Like that works for us. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like AA is a lot like stand-up comedy. Like you're not really going to get anywhere, but like everybody knows that if they go here at this time, they can hang out with other people who won't run away from them until it's over.
I forgot to mention your past and maybe your present as a
Oh
stand-up
no.
comedian, but I think that's also a big part of your writing and your ability to express yourself is like, you don't take yourself that seriously, as in you have serious points and you have a point of view, but it's like, let's just put this shit out there and it's okay to fucking laugh. I mean, we gotta laugh about some of this stuff, right?
Yeah, if I take myself more seriously, then like I realize how helpless we all are in this void of life. And it's like it's too much. Like it just starts crushing me. And I'm like, I can't even get out of bed if I start thinking about life too
So
hard. But I got 13th stepped this time in AA. And it was like the one thing I'd never done. You know what I mean? In AA. So I was like, now I get to leave. Like I've had all the experiences.
well, first of all, of course, you got 13 steps because you're hot as shit, but like, and we'll explain what that is. But I want to go way back to how did you even come across this, like, knowing of, oh my goodness, this isn't working for me because I'm neurodivergent? Or did you always know that you were just trying to fit yourself in that box?
Well, I mean, like most of us, I never wanted to go to AA. Like, why would I? I went to rehab to get away from my abusive husband who brought home cocaine every day. And my rehab, they let you live there. And I'm like, great. And I was so behind developmentally, but I didn't know that. And they were like, "Oh, well, you're gonna die if you don't go to these fucking meetings every day for the rest of your life." And I was like, "I just came here to, like, get away from my abusive husband and get off cocaine. Like, I'd still like to smoke weed and drink." They're like, "No, well, you're gonna die. Would you like us to plan your funeral? Ha, ha, ha." You know? It was a TC camp, like, therapeutic community, which is based on like, the troubled teen industry is how rehabs used to run, which is based off Naranon, and it goes from the whole troubled teen industry erupted out of AA. They're like, "Look how we can control people. This is great. They told me I had borderline personality disorder in rehab, which is really common for autistic women. And that was better than bipolar, which my mom was always trying to diagnose me with. She's an accountant, so she's qualified to diagnose people with bipolar. She
Yes,
like loves to
yes.
it's like her special interest. She thinks everybody has bipolar. My mother is autistic, as fuck, because it's genetic. So I just, how did I, and I was just kind of told like this. I would go back to AA when I had no other friends, you know? I'd be like, well, nobody's picking up my calls, but I was taught in AA I have to make phone calls every day. So I better go back there and chat. How did I find out I was it was the pandemic was like the first time I was ever like regulated. And like I was like, I don't think I have borderline. And all my pandemic AA buddies also had borderline. And then they're like, well, we don't think we have it either. And then we kind of all recognized at once, like, I'm like, oh, I'm autistic. And then I was like, I'd been studying AA all spring because I got injured and I had to take painkillers. And then when I went to get off painkillers, I had been told that like a gorilla was going to get me. That was what A had promised. That, like like something like a gorilla was going to wrestle with me, and the gorilla decides when I'm done. And there was somebody in the parking lot doing push-ups that was going to get me,
Push-ups.
and I was like, I like locked myself in my apartment to go off Percocet. I'm just like waiting to be gotten by like the AA boogeymen. And guess what, Kate? Nothing happened. Like nothing
Yeah.
happened. And people were like, well, it's because you really needed the painkillers. And I'm like, but how does my hopeless mind and body know that? A doctor prescribed it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, you have a hopeless mind and body, and you can't put anything into it without the spiritual malady and the phenomenon of craving and blah, blah, blah. But then it turns out that all these people I was meeting in AA, like, oh, well, I take mushrooms instead of antidepressants. Like, oh, well, I'm on Xanax. That's fine. I'm on Adderall. And then I hear people in a meeting be like, I would take 85 Adderall a day because it's the same as crystal meth. I'm like, maybe if you take 85, bro. Like, I don't take that much in 6 months. I literally don't.
One of my friends, LA-based artist Catherine Just, another plug, love you, Catherine. She told me that in the AA scene in LA, what's big and popular is to microdose on mushrooms
Yes.
because Bill Wilson did it.
Yeah. I was studying all this anti-AA stuff, and I stopped believing in God, and I was like, I could just believe anything. They could just convince me of anything. And it all just like fell apart after like I went off Percocet and nothing bad happened, and I was like, fine. Then I found out I was autistic because a porn star comedian that I knew told me. And she had figured it out from TikTok, but she was a grad student in psych. So I thought she like figured it out in a more legitimate way. And so I just believed her, and I went and got myself a diagnosis. And then I was like, okay, fuck AA. Fuck AA. It's a cult. Like, and they've just been forcing me to mask my whole life and treating my undiagnosed, like my autistic traits as like untreated alcoholism. And like, I won't have that. But then 5 of my friends died, including my first sponsee killed himself. And I didn't know, like, all within I started drinking again, I started smoking weed, everything was cool. A few months went by, first sponsee killed himself because he couldn't get AA and because he was undiagnosed autistic looking back. Because people in AA say one thing and they do another, and when you're autistic, you take things really literally and you think that these people mean what they say, and then you come away feeling like, well, I'm not that, like, serene or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, don't be selfish." Like, I'm sorry, I would like to have a self. I've spent my whole life being like, as a woman, as an undiagnosed autistic person, being made to feel, and I have ADHD too, that I should take up less space, that I should this, and I'm not supposed to come into this group and then flay myself more for what? For this God that I get to make up, I have to be on my knees to make him up? Like, what? So I left. And then all these people died, and I didn't have great coping skills, and I ended up drinking a little bit, and I got scared, and then I was like, I tried everything. Like these are some of the methods we have tried chapter in the AA book, and it's like, here are some
Yeah.
of the methods we have tried drinking. I did that, but with AA. Like, I went to the Satanic Temple. I went to psychedelics in recovery because I'm like, I hate Bill Wilson. I lost all my AA friends, not because I left AA, because I had like a several month period where my special interest was talking shit about Bill Wilson. and it's all I could talk about. And I was like, but he was a rapist, dude. The 13th step is baked in because he used to prey on newcomer women. And like the whole thing is an MLM. He left 10% of the book sales in perpetuity to his mistress's family. That book goes to Bill. Yes. The books, look it up. The book sales go to Bill Wilson's estate every time you buy a book. And I bought like 500 because I keep throwing them out. And every time you buy a book, it goes to benefit his heirs. Like, people at central office make serious nonprofit salaries. They make hundreds of thousands. Like, whatever. It's a religion set up as a nonprofit. That's fine. But I would go back and be like, well, the problem is that I didn't know I was autistic. I'll just go back and be like, hey guys, I'm autistic. So they won't expect me to like become a different person if I do a few steps. And then they'd be like, well, Rebecca, everybody has a reason to drink. And I'd be like, that's not why I'm telling you. And nobody would ever like stand up for you or have your back. I would be honest. And I'd be like, I thought this was an honest program, but they're like, oh, but not that honest. Don't be like, what? It was just the hypocrisy was really hard. And then I tried psychedelics in recovery, and all they talked about was Bill Wilson because of the whole acid thing. And I tried going to New York meetings online. I tried secular meetings. That was a dark place. Like, why do you need AA? Why do you go to a religious cult, but you take the religion out of it? Like, make that make sense. It's a dark, dark place.
I love that so much. Well, I love that you mentioned like that there's this hypocrisy of be honest, be rigorously motherfucking honest. But yet there's this weird look at like what they're saying versus what they're doing. Like we've had people in our lives like preach, 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 but yet what you're doing is very different. And I'm quite the same. And I take people at their word. When they say they're this, I'm like, sure, okay, cool. Like maybe I'm Pollyanna, right? But I don't care. And I totally resonate with that weird. It's the hypocrisy that I've only seen in like a white Baptist church. Like that's the level that I can compare it to. And then the 13th step, let's double click on that for a minute, because for people who don't know what that is, then you're lucky. But like, okay, there's 12 steps in AA, and the 13th one is, take it away, Rebecca Rush.
You know what? I feel like Bill only invented the first 12 steps, so the 13th wouldn't seem so like, weird and random.
So you could be like, okay, now for my 13th act, you take off your clothes.
Now that you feel bad about yourself and you've gone over every mistake and you're like, now that we've all decided together that it's your fault you got raped when you were 4.
Yes, of course.
Let's fuck.
All of it's your fault. You are reduced to nothingness. Yeah.
I'm going to this gay men's meeting near my house because I lived in West Hollywood, and I thought maybe that would be safe. It was also like 0.1 miles away, and I'm like, that's how far I'm willing to go for my recovery. And so I'd go there in the morning, and it's a gay men's meeting, yeah? There was a straight man in there, nudged by a judge. He looked like a 90s movie villain, and he would speak every day because all the gay men are adoring him, and that's what he thinks AA is. He'd be like, I can't go to a men's meeting because they're toxic. No, dude, because you don't want to be held accountable. You only want to be in AA with people that might want to fuck you. That's it, period. So he would speak, and it was at the podium speaking, and he would only share about whatever the speaker made him think of, and like, yeah, man, and then I drove my car into a wall when I was on meth. Like, yeah, I'm so cool. Like, because he was from the 90s. He was very like, oh, you started doing drugs in the 90s and your hair is still like that. But I kept going. You keep coming. And the miracle happens, which is all of a sudden this guy wasn't looking so bad. I left AA for 3 months because I was like, everybody is so fucking selfish. But then I kept going, and then my dog of 18 years died. And it's like they can tell, you know what I mean? And you're in this fishbowl, and like I was in a dark place, and he started smiling at me. And then one day and then I was like, oh, maybe I have a crush on this guy. I had just come out as like a lesbian, but whatever, here we are. And I just published a poem about it, and then I get a crush on this guy. And I was like, well, sexuality is a confusing thing. I'm never going to figure myself out. Fine. And I kept going, and he would like smile at me, or he wouldn't share every day, or he would share differently. And this was like going on for months. He would try to talk to me. But then one day he asked me how I was doing because I got there 1 minute early, and I said that I was doing better. My dog had died a few months ago, and that's when he moved in for the kill. Of course it is. All of a sudden that day, it was like, "Oh, don't leave after. You always run out." And like, "Oh, do you wanna come to breakfast with everybody?" And like, "Oh, let me drive you." And like, "Oh, maybe you should have my number." And then he texted me like 300 million times that weekend, and I was excited because I felt like having sex with a man, and that hadn't happened in a while, and I'm just like, this dude had been arrested for fentanyl and meth, buying it from a prison house, like, 8 months earlier. He had a gay sponsor. He was clearly, like, his dog didn't even have real bowls, like, he was not material, but, like, because I'm autistic and I'm enthusiastic, men will think I like them more than I do, and I'm like, "Whatever, you can handle that later when I don't text you back. You can re-examine that for yourself." Um, but so I just wanted to fuck, and so he's, like, dropping all these hints about TV, and I'm just like, "Yeah, whatever, let's watch it together." So he picks me up, we go to his house, yeah, his we had great sex because he's like, "Oh, I've never had sex sober before." And he's saying things like, "I love meth." And I'm like, "What happened to you work the whole 12 steps of AA?" He like had his passport taken away, felony. He has kids in Texas he doesn't talk to, but like, yeah, no, help another alcoholic. You got time for that. He's always raising his hand to sponsor. Like, you're not even allowed to talk to your children. And he was a white rapper, but he somehow lost his rap career because of drugs. How does that even happen? I thought drugs helped your rap career.
Yeah.
Like, how? But that's who's in AA. You're gonna find a white rapper with kids in a different state who can't talk to him, that's got a fentanyl and meth arrest, and he's got a dog that doesn't have real bulls. And he says he lives in Beverly Hills. No, he doesn't. He lives in Mid-Wilshire, and it's like a studio apartment. And the only place it says Beverly Hills is on his arrest logs. Imagine like getting arrested for drugs and be like, "No, dude, it's Beverly Hills."
I
What?
know, right? Don't get the address wrong. Uh,
It got so weird because I had this sponsor lady and she was friends with him and she was trying to match make the whole thing. And he was all she would talk about. She would call me and talk, and she'd be like, "Oh, he just needs a good woman." Cause like, that's the whole thing. AA is like, sacrifice yourself as a woman, sacrifice yourself. Like, it's that angel in the house Christianity, but like up at this extreme autistic ass level. So yeah, I hooked up with him. He was like, "Oh, I don't have any drinks or snacks at my house." And I was like, "Okay, do you want to stop at the store before you pick me up?" "No, I just wanted to let you know I don't have any." I'm like, "Oh, cuz I guess I'll buy drinks." Like, "Whatever, dude. I just want to fuck." And then first time we hang out, it's like, "Oh, I had such a hard childhood. Oh, I was molested as a babe. Oh, I was in 25 foster homes." The second time it was like, "Oh, I was beat with golf clubs. Oh, my toe hurts, but I'm not going to do anything about it." I'm like, "Okay, this guy wants a nurse and a purse." Like, I can't, and you're not going to stay sober. But the sex was good. So I had sex with him twice.
okay, let's stay on track here. One of the things I loved that you wrote about was I will not be writing about my sex inventory.
Okay.
This is directly from
Mhm.
your Substack, so I'm gonna read this from my phone. I won't be writing about my part in trauma, abuse, and survival mechanisms. I won't be writing about how autistic and ADHD traits are actually untreated alcoholism. I won't be writing about a self-flagellating sex inventory. I won't be writing about how sex work isn't a sober job. I won't be writing about 90 and 90. This is like my favorite thing I've ever read. I won't be writing that AA isn't full of gossip, judgment, and condemnation. I mean, real mother. I won't be writing that people mean what they say when they share in meetings. I won't be writing that Bill Wilson didn't become a millionaire over book sales after stealing credit from the other 9 people who wrote it with him. Like, I got to go back to the self-flagellating sex inventory because clients have come to me and said, "Why the fuck do I have to admit all the people I've had sex with? What does that have to do with anything?" And it feels really offensive to women to have to write about that. So I wanted you to share like what your take is.
Yeah, it's really weird. I was told when I first worked the steps all the way through that I had a part in losing my virginity to sexual assault,
Yes. Yeah.
because I was holding on to it. But also, as an autistic person, I took that thing really, I can think of, it doesn't mean I'm walking around holding all these past memories in my head all the time, but if you're like, "Who you mad at?" I'm like, "Let me think harder. I wanna do a good job." If I think of something from the past, I could get re-upset about it again. You know what I mean? And then I write that down, and now all of a sudden I'm a problem. I mean, my dad is extremely abusive. I made an amends to him, and it made my life so much worse. And he was just like, "Aha, it was always your fault." And I was like, "Dude," he started bringing up things he was resentful at me at from when I was a child, because that makes sense. And
Mhm.
then, but like, if I want to be like, "Hey, the divorce was really hard," he's like, "That's in the past. But when you were 7, you lied to me about how late you were up." I'm like, "Okay, buddy." And then everybody's like, "Oh, but the magic of that amends was that you didn't drink after." Well, I didn't have to go back to the bullshit store for a six-pack of my dad. But AA sent me there in the pandemic. I had to, like, sit outside 20 feet away from my dad and, like, flagellate myself to him, which honestly is, it's all connected. The sex inventory, what is that? Me still trying to work out my bullshit with my dad? Now that's my fault too? Like,
I won't be writing any self-flagellating inventory. The word inventory is for grocery stores. I will not be inventorying my life, my personal story, the decisions. I mean, I'm a human being with very complex wiring, and shit happened to me as well. I will not be inventorying myself and saying, this is good, this is bad, sectioning off parts of myself, especially for someone else to put before the jury and say, this was you. This was you. This wasn't none of that. The rigidity of the inventorying and writing about where your part in all of it was, it's really, really hard for women, especially coming in when you're already beat to shit. And that's where I come in with my beef on AA is for a woman's psychology or other marginalized groups. If you are already marginalized and you come in to a setting where you're supposed to make an inventory of your further flaws and then stand on your character defects, which I fucking hate that term forever. I feel like that's incredibly damaging. It does further damage than good.
no, and it removes your agency and your ability to show up in your life. Like, my new landlord is a huge piece of shit. And if I was in AA, I'd be all focused on like, what am I doing? And instead, I'm finding out from my handyman that, you know what? I'm right. My landlord is a huge piece of shit. He almost went to jail for sexually harassing and abusing his secretary for decades. And that's why he's in this position where he's had to sell all his building. All this shit that I found out, I never would have found out. And now I know even more how to manage him. And I know it sounds like he's going to be out of here in the next year and have to sell this building. So I know I can outlast him.
Mhm.
I would have been like focused on being kind and loving to all, as it says in the 10th step inventory. And I would be like, I'm not gonna ask my handyman. I'm not, because I could, because that would be bad behavior, like whatever.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it's
Ha
really like, if you got raped when you were 13 years old and you bring it up because you're doing the steps for the first time, and then for some idiot with like 1 month sober more than you to be like, and my sponsor at the time hadn't made any of her own amends. 'Cause, right?
what
To
the
tell you like, oh, tell me to like, that I'm holding on to this and I'm holding on to something. You asked me to bring it up. Fucking holding on. Like, you don't know what goes, I'm not like walking around the street. I didn't even have any jokes about it. I didn't even ever write about it. I'm not like carrying it like a fucking purse. The whole assignment was to bring up everything bad that has ever happened. And then you're like, oh, you're holding on to all those things. You told me to think of them. I had to go fucking spelunking through my goddamn brain to find all this shit. And then you're like, oh, it's a problem that it, what? As long as it's, and it's this illusion of control, which is such an autistic thing. But AA gives people that they want that. If it can be my fault, that I can fix it. That's just
Yeah.
like a trauma response. But then,
So
like, the people in AA, when you make an amends to them for something stupid, they'll be like, I accept your apology. They never actually do the thing. And it's always the people that have, like, a good program.
God,
Like,
I can't
what is a
handle
good
that.
it's like an MLM. What does a good program mean? It means you've created a cult inside the cult.
Yeah,
And it's really sad because Hollywood has this whole, like, weird and conspiratorial and, like, why can't you watch anybody get sober or change their relationship with drugs and alcohol on TV without them having to go to 12-step?
I know. It's so ubiquitous. It's all we know, right? Like we talked about before. It's all we know and it's easily recognizable. But that's changing. I mean, that's changing so much in the recovery communities, especially post pandemic. I mean, that's when the world cracked open and a lot of people said, no, there's this thing called the internet and Zoom, and we don't have to go to AA anymore. And that for me was when my world exploded. I found the Luckiest Club and the Sober Mom Squad. And I'm a stepmom. I'm not even like a bio mom. But that really changed my perception of like, oh, there's these other options out there. But I didn't start speaking openly about it until recently, I would say in the last maybe 6 months or so. And so I'm curious of what brought you to the place where you were like, fuck it, I'm going to write this article, this Substack. And what brought you there and what kind of feedback did you get? Because that's a lot to put out there. I
I
imagine
don't know.
there's
I just thought
hate.
I got an email the other day and I thought it was gonna be, like, something hateful, and it was literally just some PR company being like, "This would be great for Business Insider," and I was like, "No, it wouldn't." I've killed so many articles with them. Fuck Business Insider. You're only allowed to, like, publish something for them if it's for stupid people. I'm sorry. Like, every time I try to write for them, I sell it, and then they're like, "Oh, let me just run it through our AI so it sounds like us," and I'm like, "Not with my name on it. Not with my name on it." But no, I didn't people don't come at me like that unless I'm, like, on Reddit, like, trying to just innocuously talk about my cat, then people come at me. But I don't know, nobody said anything. Maybe nobody read it. I got some good Instagram DMs about it, but it was just like I had to go work the next day. I had to go to Georgia, and I was in shock. Like, my dog stopped eating 3 days before this long work trip.
Oh.
I had to put him down, my dog of 18 years. I couldn't get through the whole day, like, I couldn't function. My dog I don't have family, I don't have a partner. I had this dog for 18 years. He was my best, best, best friend. I took him on every plane with me, like, he was my only friend at sometimes. So then I was like, "Okay," and then I just kinda felt scared, and I'm like, "Maybe I'll go back to AA one last time," and I was going to that gay meeting, and then I had sex with that guy, and that went so ugly that I was like, maybe I should just go back to my old Zoom meeting, or maybe I should let somebody else find me a sponsor because I'm not good at finding a sponsor, like as if there's any good sponsor. I found this woman who was so clearly undiagnosed autistic. She was really nice. She was, like, so codependent and obsessed with me. I noticed she had no friends. She just had sponsees and a sponsor, and, like, it was a cult within a cult. This guy, Jay Westbrook, he's like I call him Big Daddy. He wears this, like, AA chain with his, like he has, like, a big Jew fro, and he's got, like, his chest hair coming out, and his buttons are way down, and he goes and talks about being molested at group level when he was a child, like, every day. He talks about his wife of 40 years, now she died, and he has books out with Central Office, and he plugs them. He has, like, 500 he changed he has, like, worksheets about the steps, so you have to read the book out of order because that's not culty at all, like, well, you gotta do the second half of step 1 with the first half of step 2. Anyways, I was in with them, and this woman she wanted to talk to me every day for, like, over an hour, and, like, she was so there for me, and I'm like, "We're gonna do a trauma-informed version of the steps, like, I'm not gonna be writing my part, I'm gonna be talking about what survival strategy did I employ here that I might no longer need." And she would just do whatever the fuck I wanted, and it still sucked, and it was still a cult, and I went to this AA birthday party, and people are still, like, obsessed with this 14 years ago, I would have been like this. Like, their identity of who they used to be is so present in every day, and they're so, like, in their past and their problems. But I'm, like, doing the thing. And my sponsee sibling was, like, dumping trauma on me, and then my sponsor would be like, "Oh, yeah, they do that." And I was like, "Wait, why is she telling me all this stuff about other people?" It reminded me of, like, she's obviously talking about me to them too, you know? Like,
I'm gonna
she's
delete
like
I'm gonna delete a person's name that we know that talks shit about everybody, and we finally realized was talking shit about both of us to each other and the whole group. But anyway.
So I'm there, and I'm my grand sponsor, my great grand sponsor, this dude, and this guy's attacking me, and I'm holding my ground, and I'm not getting dysregulated, and he keeps coming at me, and he's like, "Well, it's not table talk," and I was like, "Cool, I don't work for you, and it's not your table. Like, you get to walk away." And he grabbed his husband, and they left the party, and everybody had been silent the whole time, and then they're like, "Oh, good job, we were cheering you on," and I'm like, "No, you didn't. You all just sat there like fucking bumps on a log, and then you're gonna go to a meeting and talking about being there for people. You're gonna go to a meeting talking about standing up for what's right." And yet I had 57 days sober, and they're so obsessed with time, and as if that means I'm 57 days old or something, you know? Like, it's not your fucking birthday. Like, it's
Yeah,
this anniversary of the day you got sober. Like, you didn't become, like, that's so Christian. Like, I
yeah,
became born again. I'm not like a 50, I know how to feed myself and take my fucking pants off and take a shit. Like, I'm not 57 days old.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But
yeah,
they all, and they were like, "Oh, we're so proud of you." And I'm like, "Oh, but nobody defended me. Nobody stepped in for me. Like, you have 10 years sober. You have 15 years sober. You have 20 years sober. What happened? Why did you guys just let that guy do that to me? Like, I'm the newcomer and I'm disabled. Like, obviously you all are too, but I know it about myself."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I left, and I was just like, "Wow, what a bunch, like, I guess the steps really haven't done much for you." She's like, "Oh, my sponsees still call me every day." I'm like, "Bitch, because you don't have friends. Because you don't know how to have friends." Autistic people are good with roles in relationships. They have a harder time with lateral friendships. AA is not helping you with that.
Lateral friendships.
I was like, I think I'm done with this." And then I was talking to like one other lady, and then they'll bring up the whole, "It's life and death, honey. You need to get to a meeting." And I'm like, "Well, I have loose joints, okay?" I went and bought myself an old person butt cushion because I'm still trying to like, well, maybe if I just listen to this lady, she's been sober 40 years. And being in AA on and off for 18 years, it gets in your head. So like once I'm going a lot, my brain will start to be like, "Well, I guess you should make an amends to your mother. Well, I get," and it'll start to like reprogram itself into my brain. And that's what I care about alcohol, because they make it into some fucking pedestal thing, you know? None of my friends that like, maybe they drink, maybe they smoke weed, maybe they don't fucking talk about it all the time. I see my best friend is 16 years. We don't like go on and on about how we got drunk once 15 years ago. Long winded answerer.
No, 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 it's okay. The last episode that should air before this one is basically me dissecting Julia Fox's book Down the Drain, and she talks a lot about her career in sex work as a dominatrix. And I wanted to talk about that because I'm in New York, and I actually ended up going to her closet sale. So it was like this Julia Fox moment for me. And I loved her book. It was all about addiction. I did not realize it was going to be like that. I thought it was going to be about like fucking, Kanye West and some bullshit. But when I went to do the podcast, what I kept finding bubbling up inside of me is, it doesn't fucking matter what you do. You've got to meet people where they are. And there are people, like, she's defending the hell out of the fact that she had to do sex work or work as a dominatrix to pay the bills. You're living in New York, you're trying to push your career as an artist and as an actress. And I don't know, I guess from a feminist perspective, I was like, what the fuck does it matter?
There's no moral work under capitalism, period. Like, nobody's
Yeah,
happy with every task that they have. And that was the other thing about coming back to AA. All of a sudden, I come back to AA, and I only had one sponsor ever that was actually, that was Margaret Cho, but that's because she's an artist.
yeah.
She would want me to break her anonymity because it's a very big deal to her to get work to be sober. 'Cause that's how it works in Hollywood. You gotta go to
Shout
the
out.
meetings, you gotta wave, you gotta be like, "Look, I'm sober, it's safe to hire me. It's
Shout
safe
out
to put
Margaret.
me on set.
Yes,
I'll be there
Margaret.
on time. Don't you
Margaret Cho.
worry. I'll
Yeah.
remember my lines," you know? And when I was suicidal because I didn't believe in God anymore, she told me to pray about it, but, you
Ooh,
know,
ouch.
everybody's has nuances, and then she blocked me. But
Mm,
it's fine, it's fine.
yeah. But something in me clicked when a mutual friend, old friend of ours, who is heavy in the AA community, mentioned something, of course, to everyone because gossip is a form of control. My spidey sense was, as an AA guru, you're not supposed to fucking go around telling other people's business. I knew that she was acting in a sponsor type capacity to you. That's what it is, to make other people feel better. And this judgment. I don't wanna spend too much time on this, but I think you
No, but
said it
even the
perfectly.
coaching, even becoming a coach, which all my clients are neurodivergent. Not all of them know it, but I do coach and it's fun. But I'm starting to offer like in-person companion coaching services because there is this need of like maybe I noticed that a lot of people do have a stigma around like an autistic person might not have anybody to bring to an event that makes them feel a certain level of shame about themselves, but they could hire a coach.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely,
But
that's a gig. Let's switch gears because we were talking and we're both like, "Oh, stretching." We were talking back and forth via text about sobriety and what have you and abstinence, and you mentioned GLP-1s, and that really piqued my curiosity because I've never talked to anybody about this, but I've read, there's scientific research out there, there's publicated research. Publicated, is that a word? Published. Science Daily, The Washington Post, JAMA, like it's out there, right? You can go on WebMD, it's out there that GLP-1s are helping people quit drinking or at least take away the craving, the noise, the chatter. What was your experience on that?
I would walk around being like, "Science hasn't done so yet. Ha, Bill. Ha, ha, ha. It has now." So it's like right out of the book. They're like, "Science may someday make a normal drinker out of an alcoholic." And I'm like, it's here because it is. It works like the Sinclair method for me. I had a friend that was actually obese, and I watched him get on GLP-1s, and he used to drink problematically because alcohol works really well to make you stop feeling autistic and, like, turns down the lights. It turns down, like, hearing everybody's conversation at once. Like, it makes me able to it's easier to be out in an unstructured environment, like, that's overstimulating, right? So I watched him all of a sudden be able to have, like, 1 drink from having a problematic drinking thing. But he also talked about how it was helpful for his, like, ADHD-led impulsivity, which is a lot of, like, what becomes addiction. There's a really strong correlation with ADHD and addiction as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
impulsivity, the, like, low dopamine that comes naturally with it, and he talked about, like, scrolling on his phone less. It wasn't just food, and so I lied to get on GLP-1s over my phone, and I started taking them, and I didn't drink for, like, months, and then I was at this Christmas party, and I was like, "I'm gonna try it. I just wanna see what it's like to be at a Christmas party and feel fucking this much normal for one reason." I had this glass of wine in my hand for, like, 45 minutes. I kept forgetting it was in my hand, and I'd look at it, and I'd be like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you're still there? Maybe I'll have another sip later."
You don't want
And
it. Yeah.
if you try to drink too much, it'll make you feel a little nauseous, and then it's harder to eat, especially at the beginning too. So there's also like a physical component that a little bit comes up, but mostly just like retrain my brain over time. And then I could like have a few drinks here and there. And then I was like, oh, like this isn't really that great because it also removes like the ooh feeling.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, so it's not like you don't get buzzed, but it doesn't give the reward thing doesn't go off. But also
Yep.
you just I think a lot of people that end up in addiction, maybe our brains just doesn't make enough of the satisfaction hormone.
Mhm.
Like, doesn't that make sense? So like it like agitates your satisfaction hormones. And so I would just feel satisfied, more satisfied existing, so it wouldn't feel like I was trying to fill a God-shaped hole. But it's also like it gives you that freedom to see, "Oh, does this actually add anything to my life?" It stops being so mythologized, it stops being on a pedestal, and it becomes like a useful tool. Like, if I felt like I was in a situation with work or whatever, even socially, where I don't know if I went on a date or something, I might have a drink, but that's only because I know that I'm not gonna continue. Like, I don't know, it helped like fill in the gap while the deprogramming is almost as helpful as GLP-1s 'cause, like, all that self-fulfilling prophecy stuff, but those 2 things together I found, like, very helpful. That was why I ended up back in AA recently instead of, like, I wasn't in it for years from the time I started GLP-1s, like, and then instead of seeing myself as a chronic relapser, honestly, I've rebranded it because, like, I'm just somebody who takes breaks. I'm just somebody who takes breaks from drinking and then doesn't. And then I take breaks and then I doesn't. And sometimes I be smoking weed and sometimes I'm taking a break. And you know what? Right now I'm taking a break and I don't know what tomorrow will hold. And there's nothing morally wrong with that. It's my life and it's going pretty fucking well. I just moved to the beach. Like, I think I'm
Yeah.
going to do fine. And I'm going to
Yeah.
sit in on an MFA program next month, which, like, the guys running the MFA program is letting me come sit in on his residency for free and see if I want to apply. But also, as an autistic person, yeah, it's helpful on the front end, but it's harmful to my nervous system. Like, I get more anxious than a normal person would. I get more just if my nervous system is a cup that gets full easily, alcohol makes that cup a little smaller.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like outside of AA and outside of all the self-shaming and outside of, like, the fucking yoke and plow of being an addict is me being like, what's the point? Like, oh, that's a carcinogen. Like, that doesn't even taste good. Like, what do you really need? Do you want to sit outside and breathe for a minute?
Yeah.
So it kind of
Yeah, it
brings it
brings
all
you
back around.
it does. Yeah. I like that. It does mitigate some of the effects of alcohol as well. Like it slows the absorption of the booze in the gut to the brain, so drinking's not as fun. I mean, there are real properties here. And like we talked about with the dopamine, you get less of a dopamine spike when you're on a GLP-1 and you drink. Now, disclaimer, this is not medical advice to go get on a GLP-1. Okay, so we got to close this out because we're kind of long-winded here, and I try to keep these under an hour, although there's so much good stuff to talk about. I'm glad we recorded this because I'm one of those sobriety coaches that is like, fucking meet people where they are. I don't care what you got to do. I am not judgmental because we are human beings, and I am so tired of all the stigma and the rules around humaning. I am a student of human nature as a psychiatric nurse, and one thing I pride myself on is come as you fucking are. Like, I am not helping a damn person if I'm sitting in a place where I'm saying, "This is how it should be. This is what your recovery should look like." Whatever you gotta do. I used to tell clients, "I don't care if you fucking hula hoop and drink pickle juice, and it helps your recovery in some way." Whether it's drinking less during, a 7-day week period, I still am celebrating you for doing what you have to do to survive and to participate in humaning as best as you can. So much of what I think keeps people from sobriety. I mean, Holly Whitaker's just writing articles about this on her Substack is like, are we so sick and tired of the sober perfect girl that now we're kind of going the other direction? Like, sobriety's not as popular anymore because we've kind of sickened ourselves of this wellness perfect image. And I identify with that. Like, I am probably not going to be hanging out with a lot of sober women because I'm so tired of this mask of perfectionism, mask of wellness. I'm afraid to even admit that I vape nicotine because in my world, it's like, oh, well, are you spiritually fit then? Are you healed or are you just really fucked up? And it's like, is this what we've done?
I mean,
Now
Bill
it's a
Wilson literally
barrier.
smoked himself to death, so I guess
Well,
God
I'm
didn't
not trying to
remove
be
that.
build ups, but
But I
like,
mean, like,
I want to broaden the conversation to what helps us exist as humans. And recovery looks like all different fucking kinds of things. We're all recovering from something. I'm part of the She Recovers community. We bring our multifaceted, complex, messy identities to the table. And I'm really grateful that we could have such an honest conversation about all this.
yeah, no, you make a really good point. I think it's like, do you what makes you like yourself? Is recovery taking you away from liking yourself? Well, then get out of it. But like, isn't that the whole point it's supposed to be of getting sober and getting into recovery in the first place is liking yourself? Like, let's throw aside this whole like serve others. Like, no, as women, that's not, no. We need to like serve ourselves, maybe be an example to others of how to like enjoy being alive. Like, that's what I would like for myself. And if recovery spaces are taking me away from trusting myself and liking myself and enjoying being alive, well, I'm not going to sit in them.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong fucking room if that's the case.
Mm.
Well, thank you. Where can people find you, Rebecca?
You can find me on Instagram at Rebecca Rush 639 or on Substack, which is the loudest girl in the corner.substack.com. And my website is failbettercoach.com. And I will be having some new offerings soon.
Awesome. Well, I will be feeling better with you, I hope. So thank you so much for coming on. We're going to close it out.